Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Welcome back. Make sure you like this video. Drop a comment. Let me know where y'all from, who you a fan of. Let's get right into it, man. They looking to get justice for Takeoff. The feds is looking to get the justice. So they got to take somebody down that did this to Takeoff. And a lot of people was already talking. There was a lot of rumors going around, even reports coming saying that Jay Prince was going to get locked up for this, that Jay Prince Jr., somebody is getting looked at. And Quavo knows exactly who is going to be. Migos bands knows exactly who is going to be. Don't forget, they are witnesses in this entire thing. Like the fact that the dude, Mike Prince, who's the right-hand man of Jay Prince, he was right there. He was the dude with the white hat, or he could have been in that whole group when Quavo was arguing with them about the dice game. So now that they reviewed everything, they getting ready for the trial. There's more people who is coming out and speaking out that was scared to at the beginning because they didn't want nothing to happen to them because they were still in Houston. And so they had to make sure that Jay Prince Jr. and his brother and none of his crew was going to come after them because of the fact that they were one of the 40 people who stood there and watched everything that happened with Quavo, Takeoff, Jay Prince Jr. walking by, everything. And so now that they already got the two guys and they started talking and they started telling, they starting to get all the other people that's associated, involved, that could have been a part of it. Because for them to do that, it had to have been planned and plotted in some sort of way where they knew that, hey, somebody was going to get tried that time, and the security let that dude in without searching him because he was part of the whole Mob Ties crew. And so when Jay Prince Jr. and all his buddies came in and they all walked in the door together at the same time, like 15 to 20 to 30 people deep, then the security was really just there as a front to make it look like they had everything under control. But it was really Jay Prince Jr.'s homies that came in all with everything that they used to get Takeoff, and they never got searched. So that's one of the things that people are saying. Why would you throw a party like that and have a security guard if you're not even going to search people and have it be legit to where they're actually trying to prevent something like this from happening? So that's another thing, is that they had security there, but they didn't want security to do nothing. And so that's another thing, is that they probably was like, told them not to search certain people. They told them not to intervene, not to get involved, even though they started seeing how everything was unraveling from the dice game and how they knew that something was about to happen. But the party people, Jay Prince Jr. and Jazz Prince, they didn't want nobody coming in and playing security, even though that they were hired, because of the fact that he's got his crew with him. The guys, DJ Pat, Lil Cam, those are his personal entourage security. These are the street dudes that ride around Fifth Ward with Jay Prince Jr. when he wants to pop out in the hood and, post the videos and everything like that before he goes back to the suburb mansion where he lives with his dad and everybody else, where they got the whole family mansion and they're actually not in the areas that they have everybody from their party coming from. And so the fact that everybody from the party came from Fifth Ward, then you got the Fifth Ward guys that walked in, didn't get searched, then they get into the altercation with Quavo at the dice game, that spills outside, then the security's still outside. They're not telling nobody to leave that front sidewalk because at 2 a.m. the building was already supposed to be closed. That's why you seen people walking out and walking back in to get their jackets and make sure they didn't leave their keys and gloves and all that, scarves and everything, because at that time, you got to understand, this was about to be October going on November. So people were standing outside and it was about to be windy and cold, but they was arguing so much about this dice game that they didn't even think about that. So they knew that they was just going to have some argument that spilled outside and they weren't going to be standing in the cold that long. So they just decided that it was going to be some sort of altercation, a struggle, and they was going to end it quick. And that's when, turning the corner, Jay Prince Jr.'s homies from Fifth Ward, Lil Cam and them, and DJ Pat, they turned the corner, walk up to Takeoff. They already was standing right next to Takeoff. They was in between everybody. So they knew that if they was going to swing or if anybody was going to make any type of sudden movement, that they were already standing in this correct place and positioning for them to already have an upper hand on it, because they knew this going into it, that, hey, if this dice game happens and they don't want to pay up the fees for the security and the fees for the dice game, because the dice game, it's like, if whoever puts the dice game up, if you end up winning and they don't win, the person who started the game, they're going to want to keep playing until they get their money back. Or they're going to have their homies tell them that when a dice game is done and you walk outside, that for them to basically hit a stain on you or poke you, hit a lick for the money you won at the dice game, so he could bring it back to the person who is the person who started the dice game, because they don't want to leave empty-handed. They can't lose. And so if they lose, they'll tell somebody to go get them and give it back, or they'll even tell the person straight up, nah, this was just for fun. It wasn't actually gambling. You got to give that back. So that's what they were all arguing about when they stepped outside. And it's like 40 people there, and half of them is just over on one side listening and looking, until Quavo said what he said and he about walked off. And then that's when you start seeing the movements of the person who either swung on him or Quavo swung first. Whichever happened, it was all simultaneously. And Migos bands was standing right there. And when they went on $1 million worth of game to speak on this, when everybody thought that they was going to stay quiet about this because of where they're from, the type of people they are, the type of things that they say they're about, how they move, and everything that we've known and learned about them, right? But then with all that, they still come and speak on it. That's how you know their names must be tied up and wrapped up in some of the statements and reports, because of the fact that they were there. They were seen on the picture, seen on the video. Everybody seen the argument with Quavo and one of the guys. Everybody seen J. Prince Jr. walking by and not doing anything and just ignoring, right? And so they already noticed. And so that's why they had to come out and try to clear their name, try to lighten the load, make it seem like it wasn't as, crazy as it was. And so they were saying that to get their story out there first, because they're probably going to be called to answer questions on this, because of the fact that it's okay. So J. Prince Jr. and them throw the party, invite everybody, and it's their friends who's basically with them doing this to Takeoff. And there is so close to J. Prince Jr. and J. Prince and them that they even had to come out and speak on it and separate the fact that, I guess they try to say that they not with them people or whatever, that's not them telling them what to do, and that everything was just an accident and all that. And a lot of people think a different thing happened, and a lot of people think it could have went another whole way. But really, it could have all been avoided due to the fact that J. Prince Jr. and them hired security to be there, but they did not use the security to search anybody. And that's how the people who did this to Takeoff, that's how they got in and was able to have what they had and pull it out when they started fighting, was because that they had the security there just for looks, and they didn't really have nobody search. So if they would have been more legit, just a little bit more legit, and not trying to get away with cutting corners, then none of this would have ever happened.